Welcome back to yet another episode of Before You Summon. As always, before we start, I have a tiny request. If these videos help you or you find them entertaining, please consider subscribing. Subscribing takes a few seconds but help me immensely in my growth. But with that out of the way, let's get straight into the new event. And the More Jump girls are taking a somber turn with the event From the Marks Left Behind with Time that will run from February 20th to February 26th. This is a More Jump unit-focused event in the pure attribute, and because it is a unit-focused event, we will have a commissioned song called Jumpin' Over. Jumpin' Over will be granted to you on February 26th through your in-game mailbox. And this song will release with a virtual singer version as well as a Sekai version, with no alt vocals currently available on the Japanese server. This is a Minori focused event with the rest of More Jump as well as More Jump Miku acting as supporting cast. And the synopsis reads as follows. Minori and the other members of More Jump have decided to look for various properties to establish the More House, a base of operation for their idol activities. However, after searching for a while, they found out that finding a property that meets their requirement is not as easy as it sounds. And obviously, once the event concludes, we will see an Afterlive that will be available between February 26th and February 27th. Participating during the allotted time periods will grant you 300 crystals and a stamp. The stamp character this time around is Minori, with the stamp being called Are You Alright? And as always, we will have a new virtual live item being added to the shop connected to the event. This time around it's another headpiece in the shape of the girl's dream house from the event story. And as always, a headpiece will either set you back 3000 virtual tokens or 1000 crystals. And obviously, running alongside the event is the event gacha called Rainbow Magic Drawn in the Sky that will run from February 20th to February 28th. And because this is a marathon event, it means that all of the cards added with the Rainbow Magic gacha are considered permanent and will enter the standard gacha pool once the event ends. And since it is a standard permanent gacha, we will have 3 new cards, starting with our focus character Minori and our card Painful Honesty.
そうだよね。
Minori is a Perfect Locker skill card with the skill name This Isn't Goodbye, you know, and Perfect Locker skill cards will change all bad or better tabs into perfects for 5.5 seconds, as well as grant a 80% score bonus for 5 seconds at talent level 1. And obviously all 3 of the new gacha cards will come with unique costumes, Minori's being called Sunny Magician. Our second character in the gacha is Haruka with her card Older Than It Looks.
取れちゃった
Haruka is a perfect scorer skill card with the skill name The Enjoyment of Something Old and Worn Out. And scorer skill cards will grant 110% score bonus for 5 seconds for only perfect taps. And Haruka arrives with a new costume called Rainy Magician. The final gacha slot goes to More Jump Miku with her card Marks with a Message.
たくさんの思いが詰まってる場所だね。
Miku is a healer skill card with the skill name A Hectic Pack-Up Study, and healer skill cards will recover 350 lives and grant an 80% score bonus for 5 seconds at talent level 1, with the final new costume attached to Miku being called Cloudy Magician. So those are our 3 new gacha cards, but seeing as this is a standard marathon event, we also have 2 exchange shop cards available once the event opens. Taking the 2-star slot is Shizuku with her card Funtime Creating Layout that is a score skill card in the Cool attribute. And this obviously leaves Irie to be our 3-star representative with her card Consideration Comes with a Smile. Irie is also a Cool attribute card with a healer skill called Someone Who Can Make Their Dreams Come True. And both of these cards will of course become available once the event opens through the event exchange shop for the standard exchange shop card prices. But that covers the general information you needed to know about the event, so instead we can look towards the event team building. And like I said during last episode, I'm still trying some new things for the event team building to make it a bit more condensed while still having a lot of in-depth information. So please keep sharing your opinions about the new and also the old ways of doing event team buildings during this episode, and I will try to listen to as much feedback as possible to make these sections as good as possible while also being not too drawn out. And as always, the 3 cards added with the event gacha are the focus cards of the event and will grant a 70% bonus for being said focus cards. And the second thing to remember are the changes to event bonus that were made during 3rd anniversary, specifically to 4-star card and birthday cards, as this is not accounted for in the event team building section. Starting off with the notes for the 2-star and 3-star cards, we have 2 cards that an asterisk needs to be attached to. First and foremost, we have a minor asterisk for the 3-star Shizuku from the event Step by Step. This card entered the standard gacha pool last month, meaning that if you did not play during Step by Step, or you haven't pulled in the last couple of events, you will have no way of having this Shizuku, making her semi-unavailable for some players. And the second card is the 2-star Haruka from the event This Way That Way Zookeeper Day, who has of course not joined the standard gacha pool yet since she is an event from December. So if you did not play during This Way That Way Zookeeper Day, you have no way of having this 2-star Haruka. But with the asterisks out of the way, we can get straight into the 4-star card and birthday cards, granting you a 50% bonus during this event. Starting off with our focus character, Minori has 4 cards. 2 limited, 1 permanent, and 1 birthday card. With her first limited card coming from the event Scramble Fan Fiesta, more commonly known as 1st Anniversary, and her second limited card being her Colorful Festival exclusive card released with this year's New Year's Colorful Festival. Her permanent card, on the other hand, was released with the event Cast a Spell on You, and finally her birthday card comes from the 2nd year batch. To make matters worse, our second gacha character Haruka only has 2 available cards, 1 limited and 1 permanent. Haruka's limited card comes from the event Beyond the Dream on that day, while her permanent card comes from the event Run Sport Festival Committee Rush. Holding off with covering the virtual singers a little bit longer, we can instead look towards the exchange shop cards, starting with Airi. And Airi mimics Minori with 4 available cards where 2 are limited, 1 is permanent, and 1 is a birthday card. Airi's first limited card comes from the event Beyond the Dream of that day, while her second card is a collaboration card from the Sanrio crossover event, being featuring My Melody. Her final 4-star card being a permanent one from the event What's on Your Mind Exciting Picnic. Finally, the last card is of course her birthday card, hers being from the 1st year batch. Our final unit character of course being Shizuku, who finds the middle ground and has 3 available cards, 2 of which are limited, 1 being permanent. Shizuku's first limited card comes from the event Wishing to the Blue Sky for Your Happiness, while the second one arrived with the event At This Festival Bathe in Twilight, also known as the 2nd anniversary. Finally, her permanent card came with the event Cast a Spell on You. And this of course leaves us with the virtual singers, and since this is a unit focused event, all virtual singers in the More Jump unit in the correct attribute being pure for this event can grant the 50% bonus. But despite this, just like last time, we have an underwhelming amount of representatives for More Jump in the pure attribute with only 2 4-star cards, 1 limited and 1 permanent. The limited 4-star card is in the form of the Meiko from the event Beyond the Dream on that day, while the permanent 4-star card is in the form of the More Jump Miku from the event Cast a Spell on You. Of course, since it is a unit-focused event, all virtual singers in the blank or unitless category can also grant the 40% bonus as long as they are the correct attribute being pure. And the most noteworthy cards from this category is the Colorful Festival exclusive Miku and Luca from the 2nd year anniversary, as well as the birthday cards for Meiko and Len from 1st year, the Rin from 2nd year, and the Luca from the 3rd year. So this is our final available lineup of available cards with a 50% bonus. And while the 2-star and 3-star selection is actually pretty decent, with a lot of 3-star cards covering both virtual singers and the girls in More Jump, the 4-star situation is one of the worst I've ever seen. There are 13 4-stars available, with only 5 of them being permanent, 3 of which is from one single event being Cast a Spell on You. So if you're not a More Jump fan who has pulled from any of the gachas where they are available as limited cards, your selection is non-existent. Especially considering that most people who are not More Jump fans pulling from the limited gachas would not have pulled from the Cast a Spell on You gacha, which is a permanent More Jump unit-focused event. This makes this event, the Marks Left Behind, a very obligatory event to actually pad out the More Jump permanent roster in the pure attribute. But it still causes massive problems for most late game players to actually create a team with a 300% event bonus if you aren't a massive More Jump fan or has had some insanely specific luck when it comes to your off-banner pulls. Still, with the great selection of 3-star cards for More Jump in the pure attribute, most people will at least have those to fall back on in event team building, and some people will have the 2nd anniversary Colorful Festival exclusive Luca and Miku available as alternatives. This still doesn't fix the massive glaring issues with the 4-star selection, but might help alleviate the problems slightly. So obviously I'm not too thrilled with how the event team building panned out for this event. It is clear More Jump needed another permanent event in the pure attribute to fill out the roster, but that still doesn't alleviate how difficult this event team building will most likely be for most people. But instead of continuously ranting about the difficulties of the event team building, I think I made my point clear, and therefore we can move on to the future usability of the gacha cards. And my mood does not brighten with the future usability. Usually bad event team building means great future usability, but not in this case. Because as of recording this, neither Minori, Haruka or Miku has seen any future usability on the Japanese server as it currently stands. And I don't think I need to elaborate or explain why this makes the Rainbow Magic gacha way lower gameplay value than any other gacha we've seen in a very long time. Which is always something that makes me very depressed, since we do pull for these cards to use them in the game, not just to collect dust in our collection. But that being said, we also do have 2 exchange shop cards with Airi and Shizuku both being of the cool attribute. This means that Shizuku will see use in 2 events and Airi in 1. The shared event that both Airi and Shizuku sees use in is Lead to Shine More, that will run from the 10th of June to the 18th of June. In the gacha for this event is Haruka, Shizuku and Kaito, meaning of course that the Shizuku exchange shop card is of lower gameplay value since she is available with a 70% bonus, while the Airi is of higher gameplay value since she is only available with a 50% bonus no matter what you do. Shizuku then sees use during the event Wonder Horror Test of Courage that will run from the 31st of August to the 8th of September. In the gacha for this event is Honami, Emu and Mafyu, meaning of course that Shizuku is of higher gameplay value in this event as she is only ever available with a 50% bonus. And that is all of our future usability we have for these characters. Of course, we could always argue that there might be a More Jump pure attribute event on the horizon and therefore Haruka, Minori and Miku might see use in the future, but not only can I not predict the future and therefore cannot say if there is a pure More Jump unit focused event on the horizon, there's also the fact that Cast a Spell on You and this event had a very long period of time between them. But even if they were to get a pure attribute unit focused event in the near near future, the truth still stands at the moment that all 3 of these cards are without future usability, making the gacha very low priority when it comes to the gameplay aspect. Of course, you should never pull from a gacha just because of their future usability, but it is something you can keep in mind if you still have to decide if you're going to pull from this gacha or not. Especially considering that there is a slew of high value gachas just around the corner that might interest you more. So with that said, let's leave the future usability and move on to the new limited costumes for Haruka, Minori and Miku. And while I said there is a lot of high value gachas coming up, the costume selection for new limited costumes for Minori, Haruka and Miku in particular is very small. The first character to get a new limited costume out of these 3 is Minori during the event Wedding Live with Everyone that will run from the 31st of May to the 8th of June. In the gacha for this event is Minori, Wonderland Showtime Luca and Nene. This is followed by a new costume for Miku during the event Over Rad Squad that will run from the 30th of June to the 7th of July. This event is of course connected to our first Bloom Festival with Kanade and Meiko as the Bloom Festival exclusive cards, while Akito, Kohane and Vivi Bad Squad Miku are the event gacha characters. Following this, we will see another costume for Haruka during the event Chase My Ideal Idol that will run from the 31st of July to the 7th of August. In the gacha for this event is Airi, Shizuku and Haruka. And finally, the last event we will see one of these characters in is Unfading Wishing, more specifically the Bloom Festival exclusive card for Haruka that will be available between December 31st and January 4th. Joining her as a Bloom Festival exclusive card is Anne, with Akito, Airi and Kaito being the event gacha characters. So the selection is extremely small for these 3 characters, and it doesn't get much better with the reruns. As always, the second rerun of any limited gacha is the final chance you will have before the gacha is discontinued and the cards enter the Recollection Festival gacha pool. For more information about the Recollection Festival, as always, check out my Recollection Festival guide video down in the description if you haven't already. But rapid firing through the reruns, the first gacha that will return is Fluttering Maiden for its first rerun in April, with its second rerun already confirmed for November. Also showing up in April with its final rerun is the Naive Voice That Cries Out to You. In May, we will see the final rerun of the Sporty Girl gacha, followed by the final rerun of the Spooky Forest gacha in August. After this, we will see the first rerun of the Emotional Music March gacha in September, with no second rerun yet confirmed. In October, we will both see the first rerun of the Grow Up With Me gacha that does not yet have its second rerun confirmed, as well as the final rerun for the Flight to the Future gacha. This is followed by As Autumn Dusk Wanes, with its first rerun being in November and second rerun yet to be confirmed. And capping us off is obviously the first rerun of Photogenic Valentine in February of 2026, with no second rerun yet confirmed. So the rerun selection for Minori, Haruka and Miku is also very small, with most of these gachas having their final rerun coming up. If you have been planning on pulling from any of these gachas, mark down the date and make sure you are ready with the crystals when the final rerun arrives on the global server. But with that, we have arrived at our final question. Should you summon? As always, the easy answer is yes. If you love the cards from the gacha, you should definitely pull if you've been planning on doing so. Don't let my negative attitude towards this event sway you if you have been planning on pulling from it, but I definitely have a hard time arguing for this event for people who are still on the fence. While there definitely is an argument for these cards being very valuable in the fact that the Murmur Jump pure attribute is a very weak event team building experience at the current moment, I still can't make a massive reason for you to pull from these cards at the current moment, since we do not have any pure attribute Murmur Jump related events coming up. The only Murmur Jump character to show up during any pure attribute event during this entire year after this event concludes is Airi during 4th anniversary, where she is available as a limited card and it's a mixed event. event, meaning that neither Minori, Haruka or Miku will help you a lot during that event either way. And obviously this is a marathon event, meaning that these cards are permanent. They will always be available in the gacha as off-banner cards, meaning there is less pressure for you to pick these cards up now, as they might come home at a later date when you're pulling from a limited gacha or maybe even a crossover gacha. I truly feel like this is a filler event when it comes to the gacha and the gacha theme, but the event story is actually quite impactful for More Jump. It really feels weird when the story and tone of the actual event story is very important and impactful for the unit, but the gacha feels like someone cobbled together something just to get it out of the door. So I definitely see a bigger reason participating in the event, reading the event story and having fun with those aspects than I do pulling from the actual gacha. But maybe I am wrong. Maybe you think I'm overhyping the story and underappreciating the gacha, or maybe you think I'm not hard enough on both the event story and the gacha. As always, I do try to read every single comment, and while you're down there, remember to leave a like and share this video with a friend, as all of these things help immensely. And with that, I want to extend a thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, especially my append players, being Ollie, Charlie, Katie, Mia Marie 21, Opal Siren, Peterish, Ron Maru, Shoop, Snobby Hickory, and Verita Zuwu. As always, it's still baffling to me that you guys wanna support me, let alone give me money to do what I'm doing. And if you wanna join them in supporting me financially, you can find a link to my Patreon down in the description. But with that, thank you for making it all the way to the end of the video. I will not keep you here any longer. Let's get out of here for the week.